Good evening and welcome to a Rude Awakening, episode 14. Um, Again, PG 33, not for sensitive, woke viewers and not for people who've come to look for reasons to criticize. You can, I just don't care. I really don't care about you because you're a shared part of me, but your opinions aren't yours. Your thoughts aren't yours. You do not think. You are a thought which has appeared to take form in our collective dreaming mind. You are therefore an expression of a thought, an idea. You think, but you're actually just listening to the broadcasts of a dreaming mind, our dreaming mind, and it's flowing through you, and you think they're your thoughts. And the minute you think they're your thoughts, then you think you're the receiver of those thoughts. Then you think you're a body, and you think you have thoughts, and you do not. And until you understand and accept that, you are trapped in duality, thinking that you are somebody. So tonight's episode is a question that comes up very often, and by varying levels of spiritual people who say to me, this isn't working. I've been doing A Course in Miracles for 20 years and my life is still miserable. The neighbors are still noisy. The traffic is still terrible. The roads have still got potholes. The politicians are still, there's still a war in the north. Why am I not seeing a new world? Why am I not seeing the new earth as the Course promises, or as Eckhart Tolle explains, or as the Advaita Vedanta proposes, a nirvana, a nirvanic state of being, Atman is Brahman? How come not? How come I understand all this stuff, but I'm not experiencing it directly? Well, because you still know not what you are. You think you understand, but understanding just means to stand under wisdom. Knowledge is not wisdom. Knowledge is just understanding subject matter content. Wisdom is being able to apply it without even thinking and getting consistent effects of what you're applying. That's it. So, why does spirituality, in its various forms, seem to fail so many seekers? And we'll get to the non duality part of it as well. Well, it all is based on the natural tendency of the egoic mind. And the first one is egoic spiritual superiority. Very often you find people get onto a new path. They've just read the Tao Te Ching, or they've gone to a course, or they've attended a seminar by XYZ, and now they have this new wow understanding. And then they think they belong to a unique set of people, a more evolved, superior group of souls, us souls, and everyone else is excluded. And so, without the direct experience of whatever the teacher was teaching or the book was saying, you don't actually get the true divine wisdom awareness. Awareness is pure wisdom, and it's pure divine. And so the judgment or the broadcast judgments of the dreaming mind that you think are in your head, you don't have your own individual mind. I mean, yes, the Course says minds, but ultimately you're a fractured part of one dreaming mind. So a fractured part of a radio is not a radio. You smash a radio into 1,000 pieces. Is any piece of that radio working as a radio? No. Put it all together and make it work. That's the mind, one radio, one imagination. And so the dreaming mind judgments continue, and you keep buying into it. And so your suffering, your resistance, suffering is resistance, persists. And it's ultimately because you haven't realized what you are directly. Once you realize it, and then you carry on with your life as if nothing externally changes. A few things, perhaps, and definitely your attitude does, and your predisposition to life, but on the outside, it all looks the same. And so if you haven't realized that every judgment you're having is the judgment of what's inside your receiving mind, because you're being thought through. And the judgments of our dreaming mind, who severely doesn't want to wake up because it's afraid of awakening to self, thinking that it's going to be punished or that it's going to die. And yet there's a sufficient number of thoughts in form that recognize this isn't true, adding to the collective. So you think, you don't think. You haven't yet realized that only the dreaming mind thinks. And you've got to accept that, or else go back into dualistic thinking. In true non-duality, you have to recognize the thoughts in your so-called head that you think you're processing are not yours. You've never thought up a thought. Imagine, what are you going to think of next? You don't know. It's going to pop up. You think you're going to think about something. And I'm not talking about task-driven thinking when you're doing actions and you're thinking about the next action after the action. I'm talking about thoughts that just randomly pop up in your head. And you now need to realize you are just a thought in form. People love to say things like, and someone quotes it, you're not a human having a spiritual experience, you're spirit having a human experience. No, not at all. You are pure spirit dreaming up. You're not having an experience. You're just dreaming up an entire universe in which you dream that you, as 8 billion little characters on planet Blue Earth, are having experiences. You're experiencing and witnessing the contents of your dream, not realizing you're not actually experiencing anything because you're just dreaming. It's not real. You can't experience the unreal. You just think you do, just dream you do. And this spiritual superiority is so wrought in the whole spiritual community. As people, they've now studied A Course in Miracles or Advaita Vedanta, the Upanishads, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Buddhism, Taoism, and even Buddhism has got various schools, or Sufism or something, or any other non-dual pointing, because that's really what teachings are, pointings. And now you believe that you're on the right path. Yours is the only one. Yours is the best teacher ever. It's a judgment. You just judged. And can you say that? Have you studied every other path? Have you listened to every other teacher? Have you truly understood what they're trying to say? I see that with certain teachers. Oh, I think Francis Lucille is better than Rupert Spira. Just different, teaching in different ways. Oh, I think so-and-so is better than so-and-so. Muji is better than Eckhart Tolle. It just resonates and vibrates and aligns more with where you are. Neither is better or worse, different in its appearance. The truth in us all is identical. Know this. You don't have all the answers. No one does. Collectively, if you put us all together, we have all the answers because all the answers are one indivisible shared answer. I am. And even that answer then dissolves and the I am disappears and all there is the extension of God. God extending in the present, forever, here now. So know this. If you're unhappy with within, inside you, with your thoughts, with your whatever you're going through, and you still feel the need to correct others, and this was a great lesson for me to learn, massive lesson, or judge anyone for what they're saying, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's good or bad, then you still lack the understanding of non-duality. You haven't fully understood unity awareness. You may have understood it, but you haven't transcended it, that the peace of God. So if you're not at peace, then the peace of God, which transcends understanding into knowing, hasn't occurred within your seeming experience in your awareness. And then you're just on your high pony, your high spiritual unicorn, thinking you're spiritually superior to everybody else. And really, all that is egoic self-aggrandization. Just look at me, grandiosity of the ego. I know better. I'm on the right path. I have the best teacher. I'm on the only path. There's no such thing. There's 8 billion paths. And a sportsman is just as spiritual as a spiritual person. A religious person is just as spiritual as a sportsman or a whatever. There's no such thing as spiritual. It's just a false identity which the ego uses, your fear uses, in order to keep you trapped in fear and separation and division. And that's why no matter how spiritual people are, no matter what they read, no matter what course they're on, the anxiety returns. And what's anxiety? It's pre-fear. It's the effect of fear, anxiety. And the judgment then is immediate because then it's an outer projection and then a judgment. That's exactly what the ego does. It doesn't want to sit with it. It doesn't want to admit it knows nothing because it can't know anything. And so what does it do? It just projects it outwards and then judges it and look at me, I'm superior. Everything outside me is wrong. And so you remain unhappy. I mean, if spiritual people were truly unhappy, They would read other people's comments, agree or disagree, and just say nothing but thank you, gratitude for a different perspective. No, no, no. No, we've got to put our intellectual masturbation into it and tell everybody that they're wrong. This is the only way to see it. I heard an argument the other day. Until you stop eating meat and only eat vegetables, then you're going to transcend. Meat, plants, matter, it's all illusion. It's all illusion. Don't start prescribing to people what they should and shouldn't do, how they should eat, what they should drink, which direction they should sit. Just be at peace with self. And if you hear something you disagree, be quiet. Just be quiet. If you don't understand that, here's a Luigi version. Shut the fuck up. Really, who the fuck cares about what you think? Really, you don't think you think anyway. So it's just let it go. Just drop it. And all you're going to do is you're going to blah, 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 and someone's going to attack you back, and then you're wondering why someone's attacking you. Well, they're just reflecting back at you your attack thoughts. Remember, wisdom, true Christ wisdom, to God wisdom is silent. God is silent, doesn't speak. Speaking is imagined. Speaking is voice. Voice is imagined. Vibration is just pure energy. Wisdom is directly applied knowledge. That works. And how does it work? The joyous lightness of being. If you're not experiencing the joyous lightness of being, you're experiencing egoic spiritual superiority. And that's why you're suffering. Thinking you know better, thinking you're on the right path, but you actually don't. The second reason spirituality fails so many people is this false sense of autonomy we all want, which A Course in Miracles, by the way, describes it as the authority problem. We hate the idea that someone has the authority over us. Well, God has the authority over us because the extension of God is what we are in truth. So Source has total authority over its extension, obviously. And then we have these concepts that we have free will. You don't have free will. You've never had free will. You never will have free will because your will is to will thy will, and thy will be done is love. What other will would you have but love? If you think you have free will and you don't will to will love, then you have not understood what free will is. Free will is to will the love of God in permanent, perpetual extension. Any other will is just bullshit, and it's just your egoic little thinking that you're thinking, wanting something else so that you could be in charge. The very reason we collectively are asleep as one is we wanted our own free will. And where did that get us? We made manifest the whole universe and just fucked it up every single step of the way. And just made up billions of beliefs and concepts. And for every answer we come up with, we create another problem. With every solution we bring to the world of separation, we just create more problems down the line. Nothing we do, okay, is ever going to solve this. Authority problem continues until you fully surrender. And to the arsehole that is going to criticize me for there's no word such as surrender in the Course of Miracles, just be quiet, go somewhere else, okay? I'm not interested in your shit. You just listen to me to irritate yourself and then comment something stupid. Just go away, okay? Not interested. If you think you ever understand anything, you don't understand shit. I don't understand shit. What am I speaking for? I keep teaching, because this is a permanent way I remind myself of that which I am. And by sharing my understandings, I bring myself into alignment. And through my sharing of my understanding, transcendence takes place and knowing comes through. And what is it that I end up knowing? I end up knowing it all. And what is it that I understand? I understand it all. And what is it all? Pure, unadulterated, joyful, blissful, silent stillness. That's what all is. And all shall be given you. That's what all is. Pure peace. Silent, joyous peace. And that's a direct experience thereof. How do I explain this? I'm using words. Symbols twice removed. They're a far off concession for the experience itself, the seeming experience itself. Remember, true divine wisdom awareness is the knowing of self. And the knowing of self is just a joyous, gentle peace. It's as simple as that. Okay. And the recognition that I'm dreaming all of this up. And the essence energy I am is the extension essence energy of God. And the extension energy, what is it called in A Course in Miracles? Son of God. There's no being Father and being Son. And don't go into that dualistic nonsense. And you started thinking up Santa Claus stories. So you are purely the Holy Son, the holy extension of God, pure spirit, pure energy, little glitch, dream, and now you're imagining this whole dream is real. You've never left the kingdom. And so it's you'll see this in many a spiritual teacher, especially in our communities, a Course in Miracles community. They can't wait to spew forth their suffering stories. And if you spew forth your suffering stories, all you're doing is you've believed it real for yourself, and now you're trying to convince other people that you're suffering, and so that they can give you empathy and sympathy and energy, and therefore make the story real for you or more real for you than you think it is. Stop, stop, stop. Just be quiet. If you ever think you can determine an outcome, you can change the way of the world, you can change others, make peace, heal others, then if you're refusing to accept the fact that you can't do shit, okay, you are trapped in the authority problem. The script is written. Supreme authority is God. And the script was written for us. We chose to fall asleep and he scripted it. He scripted our awakening. That's what he scripted. The script is purely the process, the sequence of awakening, because we're energy, so that we in a sequence. So we sequence ourselves into awakening. There's nothing you can do to change your current body, mind, storyline, or destiny. The script's written. You fell asleep, projected this entire universe, and that character appearing as you right now, listening to this character appearing as me right now, both of us, all of us, will awaken to self when we dissolve the idea that there's a you and me, that there's a separation between you and I. The only choice you really have, the only free will you really have is align with it, accept it, and love it, because once you recognize the love you are extending, accepting, aligned, the joyous lightness of being becomes you. And everything that's happening to you, even the shitty things, especially the shitty things, even if you didn't plan them as a little child, you may take accountability for some of your thoughts and then they created activities outside you when you were an adult. But why did it happen to you as a child? The whole script is written. And if you have truly practiced forgiveness properly, then you look back on your so-called formative childhood years and you realize, I'm so grateful for all those so-called horrible things that happened to me, because had they not, I wouldn't have sought another way and trajectory towards the inward path, which is the only path there is. The other reason that spirituality fails so many people is because they believe in magic. Now, miracles are totally natural. Miracles are the extension of absolute reality. The greatest miracle is the reversal of our what seems like individual minds, which means we're contributing to the collective dreaming mind. And another thought dissolves out of the dream, returns to right-mindedness, Christ mind, the awake mind. In other words, how does it return? Does it return as an individual to the right mind? No, it just dissolves as a separate thought in form and returns to its primordial essence energy, right-mindedness, Christ mind. So the belief in magic, and we become Wiccans and witches and druids and blah, blah, blah. And there's all sorts of rituals. And then you think you have special gifts because you're psychic, you can see the future because you can predict. All it means is you're hyper-intuitive. That's all psychic is. And you're tapping into cellular memory and you think you're seeing someone else's future or past. But there is no one else's future or past. You're just tapping into your primordial dreaming mind, the first separation mind, in which all minds exist, and you think you now can read someone else's future. You're just reading fractures of your own self appearance of the script. That's it. Now you think you're special. You think there's others. You think that there's others that need to be fixed. There's no others. Any spiritual teacher or healer that thinks there's others that need to be fixed in the world, don't you realize the others are fractures of your own dreaming mind as perceived by your localized, fractured part of your dreaming mind. And it's the unhealed part of yourself and your thoughts projected outwards. And so you keep seeing people that appear to need healing. It's you that needs the healing. Healer, heal thyself. And then we get into magic like law of attraction. It made such a wow, wow, wow with the great video. And then what happened? You started manifesting parking lots and parking spaces and short queues and cars and jobs and careers and lovers. And where did it get you 10 years or 20 years later? The secret. What happened after the secret? Well, we've forgotten the secret because it wasn't a secret anyway. It was us, fractured parts of our true self, trying to replicate the law, the immutable law of God, which is the law of creation. What is given to one is given to all, and we extend. And so, what did we try and do? We try to mimic, we try to mirror the law, the immutable law of extension by creating the law of attraction. Think of attraction, you're pulling it to you. What does love do? Extends. So it's the opposite direction of what love really does, which is to extend. So now we want to attract. Hey, we've manifested, we, the dreaming mind, have manifested the whole universe. We're still miserable. So what do you think you're going to manifest that's going to make you happy? You're only going to make manifest things, people, places, things, and events. And no matter, while you're pursuing it, while you're making manifest, you think you're happy, it's only because your attention is on the manifestation. The minute you have it, you settle, and the anxiety, the void from within surfaces, calling you to face it. And that void is seen as empty, and something's missing, and it is empty because there's no thing in it. But nothing's missing because it's the fullness of self. But you're so afraid of going in, you keep going without, and then your magic starts failing you. Your predictive calendar stops failing you. Your astrology starts failing you. And then what? Then you're lost. Because you think you had all the answers. You thought you were spiritually superior. You belong to the so-and-so special club, and now you think you're failing. You've done something wrong, and the whole thing just comes crashing down. Hey, return to the law of one, the immutable law of God. Extend, pour yourself lovingly into the dream by sharing your compassionate, natural, passionate nature. Compassionate, natural, passionate nature. We call that talents in this world. Do what you love. Okay. And never get trapped into the predicting the future. Script's written. You don't even know what you're going to think next. You don't know. No one has any idea what's going to happen next. I can tell you for a fact what's going to happen next. The only true next is the Holy Son of God awakens to himself and realizes this was just a silly dream he never had. And while he's recognizing he had a dream, he's going to forget he even had a dream. And so there's going to be no memory of you and I. There is no you, there is no I. The greatest fear of the egoic separate self, that there is no individual in heaven. There won't be 8 billion arse souls in heaven. There's just one son awakening to himself, pure light extending light forever. Awareness returns to awareness. Love returns to love. The next reason, and this goes hand in hand with this previous one, is the belief in esoteric nonsense. So every book written of people that have stumbled on the truth or a part of the truth, because no one truly gets the whole truth until they go fully quiet, is everything we read, all the wonderful non-dual teachings, the so-called esoteric teachings, are all pointing to the same hub, to the same center, to the one indivisible shared self. But if you believe in the astrologies and other realms and dimensions, then you've gone back into separation. If you think you're a soul, yet to learn something, then you're an arsehole. You're not a soul trying to learn something. You're a thought in form, a thought by our collective dreaming mind. And every thought it's had has taken form, and it's a thought of what it could be, trying to figure itself out, trying to find a way to usurp the power of God. And once we've handed the device, the thought and form, back to our primordial essence energy, Holy Spirit, our primordial essence energy naturally aligns with the truth. And what is that? I will to will thy will. Aligns with the unity awareness, one indivisible, holy Son of God, expanding, extending the love of God you are. So you could read all these esoteric things and understand the stars and this, predict that in the future. But until you know yourself, capital S, holy self, holy Son of God self, the duality inside you is at a split. Your mind is split, and so the conflict happens. And the mind not only splits between right-minded and wrong-mindedness, the wrong mind splits into two, the good ego and the bad ego. And then you have this continuous conflict between the good wolf and the bad wolf, or the good angel and the bad angel. People write all this nonsense, and it's just your split mind finding another enemy within itself to fight with itself and then project outwards and blame everybody else. And that leads to the next one, the false spiritual rituals, which is now all modernized and it's all money making. And it's, the perfect spiritual practice. And it's a practice of meditation, Vipassana meditation, pranic breathing, breathing techniques, magic mushroom journey. Oh, this is the latest one, the magic mushroom journey, because you get a glimpse of the self and you realize what you are. And you're just out of yourself. Your mind can't compute. Your mind is scrambling for answers. It then goes quiet because it doesn't understand anything. And then the silent stillness, the self is recognized. And you think it's the magic mushroom that did it. Now, can you replicate it without a mushroom? Because if you can't, it was a waste of time and money. Hypnotic regressions. Hell, I did 3,000 of them. Oh, life between lives and life after lives. And now we believe there's a spirit world filled with souls or spirits and they reincarnate. That's a fractured part of our dreaming mind. That's the first part of the dreaming mind, the first split, the spirit world. And then second projection, the secret world, the physical world. And it keeps the whole thing hidden, getting us to understand that we're souls trapped in a reincarnation cycle, just a bunch of arseholes desperately looking for happiness. We come from a so-called happy spirit world, but then we come to the world of duality and suffering to find a soulmate and to find love. Why the fuck didn't you find one in the spirit world where it's all la-di-da, angels and music? What the fuck's wrong with you? Why did you come here to find peace? It's because there isn't any peace there either. Why? Because it's dream state. It's separation state. So there may not be violence and stabbings and rape in the spirit world, but it certainly isn't happy, because if it was happy, you wouldn't come here. Because why do you keep coming here? Because you hope through the duality, through the neti-neti, you recognize what you are through the experience of what you're not. Does this piss you off if you're one of those spiritual bunnies that loves the different levels and the layers and the 23rd dimension and the seventh heaven and all of that bullshit? Well, if it was true, then you wouldn't be arguing with me and fighting with me. If it was true, you'd be happy with it. You wouldn't try to be convincing anyone. You'd be sharing yourself as a 12th dimension interstellar master orange Kachina star, whatever the fuck you've made up in your mind. And now you're special because you're from that dimension and you're from the Palladians and you've come to save the vile, evil creatures of this world. Go keep kidding yourself, because until you recognize one shared indivisible self, unity awareness, one Christ mind. What's Christ mind? It's a term we've given while we're in duality to the extension of God. Pure God. God isn't dreaming. God is just extending. Okay. And then you get trapped. This one's the guru. Now you're going to go and visit the mountain. The mountain has special. Fucking hell. I live on a mountain. There's nothing special here except bugs. Lots of bugs. Snakes. Okay. So, it's just you're dreaming of fuck all. And you made a story about it. And then you want to fix the story. And how do you fix a story when there's fuck all? It's everyone's being fucked. That's why I say fuck all. Ooh, offensive. Wonderful. So what do these spiritual practices do? They seem to be great while you're doing it. While you're in a magic mushroom yogic pose, it stretching your muscles. You're so concentrating on it, there's no time to think, and you seem to be happy. And what do they do straight after they come out of whatever heated yoga spa? Yap, 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 yap. I've seen it at the Course in Miracles retreats. They listen to a teacher, they're all quiet and hug each other, sing kumbaya, hold hands, move in circles, all dressed in white. It's so amazing. Jesus pictures everywhere. And then they walk outside and blah, 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 all their fucking problems. Nothing changes. And if it did, then you would just need one retreat and you wouldn't need to go anywhere. And the famous ones are the silent retreats where you pay a whole lot of money to go somewhere and sit with a bunch of people quiet. Why don't you just stay home and save yourself that money, or take that money and give it to an animal charity? Instead, retreat into yourself, capital. That's what retreats mean. Satsang. Let's satsang with so-called Juji or whatever his name is. What the fuck? Satsang. You're speaking English. Just say you're having a meeting. Why do you have to call it a satsang? Because it's more spiritual. It's a higher vibration. Satsang. The Hindu language is a higher vibration than English. What a load of fucking bollocks. Absolute bullshit. You keep kidding yourself that way. You need to be aware that all external effort, all blah, 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 rituals, mantras, dressing with your grandmother's curtains, not wearing shoes, only eating vegetables and plants, facing east, praying north, pranic breathing, opening Uranus and your third eye, all of that, all external effort in reaching God without an internal surrender to what is, sinking into the temple, sinking into the silent stillness, temple, tabernacle, whatever they want to call it, the altar. It's just words. It's sinking into the stillness. You use the analogy of an altar and a church. Why? Because the altar is a quiet place. Shh, don't speak in a church. Center. In silent stillness, there you are. You are that. What is that? Pure, unfiltered, undivided, indivisible, ever extending energy, essence energy, awareness, the love of God. And until you recognize the silent stillness is your essence energy, is your truth, and you haven't abided in that gratitude, in that grace of the love of God of your being, until you really immerse yourself in it while you're doing it. I do it while I ride my motorcycle, while I ride a business strategy, while I run a meeting, while I drive my car. I'm there. I'm here now. I'm doing it while I speak. I'm aware of this all-pervading presence of the Lord God in my being. I'm in it. It's in me. It's all around. The words fail me. That's what I am. And until you are fully surrendered to that and the recognition of His grace, no matter what you will do, no matter what you try in this life, to your little self, you'll be a disgrace. Either you're in the grace of God knowingly, or you're a disgrace to yourself, to your fractured selves. And then one of my favorites, and man, did I go down this rabbit hole, why spirituality fails, the intellectual master baiters. They love to bait you. They master baiters. They go down a fucking rabbit hole. Oh, they've read the Quran, they've read the Bible, they've read that version of the Bible, the Nahmadi texts, they've read the whatever book from whatever, blah, 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 Book of Eden and the Book of Enoch, and it was that transcription and that book, that Bible found in North Ethiopia, Africa, and that one doesn't say Jesus, that one says Yeshua, and this one doesn't say God, it says the Elohim. And now you want to know if Jesus was God, or was he not, or was he planted, or was he already supreme? Or when you go down that rabbit hole, understand this. Everything you've ever learned, anything that anyone ever teaches is narratively. And even if you take photographic evidence, it's just energy. All of it fades. And you'll go down a rabbit hole of masturbation, and you'll figure out fuck all. You'll convince yourself that you know better. But while the emptiness remains inside you, you know not what you are, Holy Son of God. And you think you're a wretched, miserable being trapped in guilt, and you should have and could have and would have. If you knew better when you should have, could have, and would have, you would have. And you didn't. And you don't know. And no one knows shit. And until you have the peace of God that transcends understanding, you have nothing. You may have read books and you can quote scriptures and books and who said what, and is Judaism correct, or is Christianity correct, or is it Islam, or is it Sufism, or Taoism, or Taoism, or fuckism. You won't know shit. And you convince yourself that you're better because you speak an eloquent language and you never swear and you only eat vegetables. The fact is, while the emptiness remains, while the unease remains, while you can't sit still with yourself and the thoughts that travel through you, not paying attention to them because you know they're not your own. And the only thought that is your own is the thought you share with God, and that's a loving, compassionate thought. And that's grace traveling through you, where you get up off your arse soul and you act in a way of love, and you bring forth the light in kindness and in compassion and with respect for all beings. And if you cannot do that, no matter what you know and how many scriptures you've read, and know me on this one, I could give a fuck what you think. I really don't give a shit what you read and what society you belong to, which church group, what you've learned, which shul, which mosque. I just don't give a fuck. Because it's all bullshit. It's all made up in the dream. And until you know the self, you are Holy Son of God. It remains irrelevant because there's no point. If you really want to go down that rabbit hole, listen to someone like Paul Wallace, ex-Catholic priest, whatever, Vatican Library, and he's got a YouTube channel called The Fifth Kind. Watch, he'll decipher it for you. Phenomenal. And he's not trying to disprove the Bible or disprove the Quran. He's just going in and going, when they said Elohim, which is a plural in Hebrew, what did it mean? Gods. And when the gods looked down upon the daughters of man and saw they were good and had sex with them, and then had and bore the giants of old, the Nephilim. Really? So the gods needed to have sex with man's. The whole fucking thing's a circus. And if you think God has got anything to do with this universe, then you are so deluded. Because if that is true, then God is one cruel motherfucking bitch, okay, who manifests the universe and then plonks her children down there to suffer eternal damnation while demanding that they worship her. It has to be a woman. Only a woman could be that cruel. Or you're now offended, am I being sexist? I don't give a fuck. Do you understand the effect? That's how ludicrous the whole fucking thing is. The divine feminine, the divine masculine, the whole thing's a joke. One indivisible. There's no divine masculine, there's no divine feminine. It's one holy essence, the extension of God, love. And the minute you start, this is the divine feminine is awakening. There's another cycle of time. There's an acceleration. Jy's fucking beroof. Jy's nie lekker nie. You must just go be still. Go be still and know I am, and then you'll recognize the I am as the extension of God. Other than that, jy praat net lekker kak. I'm not interested. Okay. Got it? Good. Dualistic wrong-mindedness. Now, some of it sounds like I'm judging. And of course it does, because I'm calling it out. Because I'm trying to bring a new way of looking at it. Now, you either use what I'm saying and you accept it and you adopt it into your life, fantastic. Or you go, hang a second, I disagree with them, which means it reinforces your understanding. And so be grateful for what I'm saying, because it's now reinforcing what you know or believe, which means you don't know shit. Okay, you either know or you believe, and if you believe, it's a lie. When you know, you know. So you've heard me, it doesn't resonate, it doesn't align, not interested. It's reinforced your understanding and your transcendence. Be happy, be grateful. If you still need to complain, criticize, say something, try and correct me, hey, motherfucker, you're trapped in your fucking delusion, and I'm not interested in your opinion. You're trying to shoehorn your dogmatic, previously adopted beliefs, which haven't served you, because if they had, you'd be there, not listening to me. You'd be happy, not still searching. You'd be at peace, not still trying to find love, get leg over, be loved, find the perfect companion, and hopefully he's angelic and fucking psychic, and be happy there ever after. If you really had it, then you'd be at peace. You wouldn't be listening to me. The reason you're listening to me is you haven't found it. You may have heard Adyashanti or Muji or Eckhart Tolle, okay, or those that see mystical beings appear and remember Jesus, but you're still fucking miserable because you haven't figured it out. And even though you believe in what they say, you may even understand it. Transcendence hasn't happened. And so what do you end up doing? You end up worshipping your dark companions, your dark idols, your dark shadows. And what are they? Other people that you put on a pedestal that you now think know better than you. Someone outside you who's going to save you. It's either Jesus or Ramana Maharishi or someone you've never met, but you love their books and it sounds so amazing, and you've watched them snort and claim to have seen mystical beings that appear and disappear when no one else is watching, of course. And now you're special. No, you're not. Because if you truly were sharing the grandeur of God and not the grandiosity of the ego, you'd be at peace and you'd be sharing your peace and you'd be bringing through this wisdom because you've applied it directly from your own direct experience and it works. And if you think that what I'm doing is judging, then you're judging me and you're doing the very same thing you're accusing me of doing. And yet I'm not doing it because what I'm doing is coming from pure love for you, for the rest of my cells, because I have found a way to be at peace in my roguish South African cowboy biker way, authentic to myself. And I want to share it with you so that it becomes a possible path that you could take, adjust, adapt to your own, because you cannot follow in my footsteps, because I'm still figuring it out day by day. And day by day, the peace of God, which is the essence energy I am, extends, expands. And the more I share it, whether anyone uses it or not, just by sharing it, it becomes more of me, more of I am. Less of this, more of all oneness. What can one say about non-duality? Unity awareness. It starts with recognizing the universe is one indivisible organism, one biome. Little biomes in your stomach all acting together and biomes everywhere. That's the new science, the science of nutrition, biomes. Well, the universe is one fucked up biome, desperately trying to return to silent stillness, the joyous lightness of being. Ego loves to give compelling actual evidence for false positivity and spiritual bypassing, and you got to do this work and that work and this. You need to do nothing, and you can do nothing. You're trying to stay positive, and then you can't. So then you believe you failed. There's no such thing. You're going to go through moods. You're going to go through just like the weather, just like the ebbs and the tides of the ocean. It just that's the rhythm. That's the movement of dream consciousness. Pure awareness is silent and extends the silent stillness of itself eternally. You can't forever stay positive in a world of dreams. But what you can stay is present. What you can stay is connected to the temple, to the heart, to the silent stillness within, to the void that is an empty, that is devoid of emptiness, is the fullness of being. Until you've had a direct experience of true divine knowing, wisdom, the transcendence thereof, you keep searching. And then you want to spew forth your ideas and argue with everybody else as if you knew better. If you really knew better, you'd be quiet, because then you wouldn't take anything you read, see seriously, and you wouldn't need to comment. And that's what's happening to me, as I used to call out the charlatan teachers, because I really felt that they were doing a harm to so many. And then I recognized what I was doing. It was just a preconceived idea in my head, where I used to rebel against early church when I was a young boy. And I'm now seeing this spiritual nonsense and I'm resisting it. And now, so what I've chosen to do is to be still, to be present. When I see something that I disagree with, I smile, I give gratitude, I move forward. Okay. And then the final thing, which is really why spirituality fails everyone, is unforgiven thoughts of the past and unforgiven thoughts of expectations, things that didn't pan out. As you know, the ego drags the past into the present and then projects it forward, therefore ensuring that the future is filled with more of the past. Holy Spirit does something completely different. It completely ignores Holy Spirit, your essence energy, essence of what you are, the vision of what self is, abides in the presence of the all-encompassing presence, the awareness in which we abide, God. It makes that present moment awareness its present moment awareness, its current state of being. It projects that current state of being into eternity, not future. And what does that mean? That means that the perpetual beingness in the nowness, and I'm using funny words that Eckhart Tolle uses, becomes the ever-present state of being, the infinite lightness of being you are. Okay. If you don't stay present in this and you start reacting negatively to things that didn't work out because you're so-called spiritual now, then you're going to go down a rabbit hole of self-beating You'll be looking in the mirror and saying, I'm too skinny, I'm too fat, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too black, I'm too white, I'm too green, I'm too purple, something, something, something. And the ego just pulls you back down. It's because of unforgiven thoughts. So what people call shadow work is just unforgiven thoughts. You got to do the shadow work, face your shadows. Be aware of the thoughts, recognize the thoughts are not your own. They're dreamt up by our collective dreaming mind. They appear to be traveling through you. You appear to be having those thoughts. You've never had a single thought other than the thought you share with God, which is unconditional love. Do not pay attention to those thoughts. Look at those thoughts. Find their source. You'll find there isn't any. Find the root of them. There isn't any. And you go, oh, it happened in my childhood. Go back into your childhood. Where's your childhood happening? In the present. Be aware that true forgiveness is recognizing none of this truly happened. It just appears to be happening in our dream state. I am that which dreams. Just like at night when you dream, you find yourself in your dream and things appear to be happening to you. When you wake up in the morning, those thoughts are gone. Sometimes they still bother you. Why? Because they happened in your dream content and you haven't forgiven yourself for dreaming. Holy Son of God. And expecting your dream to turn out in a way it didn't. You wanted God to agree with you. You wanted God to give you your fantasy, your adventure. You wanted to usurp his power and manifest your own. And since he wouldn't and couldn't, because he couldn't give you what is unreal. He couldn't give you a dream of vengeance where something has to die for something else to live. And so you resisted him, you rebelled against him, you hid your head in shame, and you dreamt up nightmares. And then you think you're spiritual and God is going to help you. God is unaware of your prayers. Don't even bother. Don't even bother praying. The true prayer is a prayer of gratitude. And that means you align with the will to will God's will. And true gratitude is the only true vibration that you ever get vibration, energy vibration you get into in the stream of separation. And that means you're aligning. Until you recognize that, you're going to repeatedly go through what I call the 6 stages. They're somewhat similar to the stages in the development of trust and A Course in Miracles, but not quite. This is through my own direct experience. And I've witnessed it happen to so many people. And as I said, it's on a continuous loop. And if you haven't figured it out, you'll stay on that loop over and over again, not recognizing where you are, how far you've come, and the fact that you've gone nowhere. Going around in circles nowhere faster. Before we go any further, what is it that everybody wants? Why is anyone on a spiritual path? Why did anyone become spiritual? Because they were miserably fucking unhappy. So they never turn around and say, well, ignorance was bliss. No, it wasn't. Because if it was bliss, you'd stay there. The reason you went spiritual, not religious, is because it wasn't working. Now, of course, some people, spirituality fails to go back to religion. Okay, trapped in translation, as long as it makes you happy, but it doesn't. That's why you're still searching for love in all the wrong places and where it cannot be found. If you're looking for love and happiness, you should know that a penis gives you 11 minutes of pleasure, 30 fucking years of hell, and no one's found eternal joy in happiness. But okay, keep kidding yourself. The reason everybody gets on a spiritual path is because they want happiness. They want to be happy, joyous peace perpetually while you dream. Think about that. You want happiness while you dream. You want happiness while you dream of separation. You want happiness while you dream of separation and hell. What's the chance that's going to happen? Fuck all. Absolutely fuck all. The only way you're going to awaken the self is to recognize what you are. And the only way you're going to wake to what you are is realize what you are cannot be explained. It's just the present moment awareness. You are. Return to that. Abide in that. And stop asking questions. Just sit with it. You don't need to know. You don't need to know anything. Just abide. Be present. Just be present. That's it. And realize no matter what path you're on, what religion you're on, what modality, what ritual, if you're not in perpetual peace, it's not working. And until you recognize what you are, you won't recognize what God is. And no matter what you recognize, it's irrelevant because it isn't true. It's pointless. And in and of itself will become another obstacle to peace. Whatever path you're following in and of itself will create conflict, more questions. And if whatever you're reading or studying is creating more questions, you're down the wrong path. Save yourself 30 years. Don't do what I do. You have to study thousands of books in different paths and travel around the world, try and figure it out. Be still and know I am. Know the I am. And once you know the I am, you're at the doorway, the bridge. It's not the ultimate. And once you recognize the I am, you'll travel through the doorway and recognize, and the door's always open. The I am is the extension of, is the present moment awareness of God. Be still and know the I am is the extension of God. The Bible missed it out. Some lazy fuck didn't put all the words. And so it was supposed to be still and know that the I am is the extension of God. But they didn't understand it. They were trapped in duality, and someone was chopping off little edges of penises. And so people were just miserable and fucking unhappy. That's a fact. Okay. Non-dualistic truth is just silent. Anything else is just mental masturbation and explanations for something that cannot be explained but can be known when you abide with God in the temple. The other reason spirituality has failed so many people is spiritual seekers have this unrealistic expectation. Now, please note, please look around you, go to retreats. Most of them, except the husbands that are pulled there by the ear, are desperately looking for love, but haven't found it because it's all toxic masculinity, or all women are bitches. And so they're looking for love in all the wrong places. And since they can't find love and they don't believe they'll find love in the world, we'll just turn Jesus into our lover, or Ramana into our lover, or Guruji, and hope the Guruji gives them 11 minutes of pleasure and no hell thereafter. No matter what you do, no matter how practice, what ritual, until your dying bodily death, the ego broadcast will continue. And unless you learn how to dial down the volume, you can't switch them off, can't stop your thoughts, because they're not yours to stop. You're just a receiver. Dial down the volume so that the white noise, the silent stillness, which is what? The essence energy of God, brings through the clarity. And until then, your awakening sequence will be filled with hazards, because until you can dial down that volume, ego mind will yak, 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 make you believe you're failing. And then you're going through these 6 stages on a loop. The 6 stages are simple. The first one is, the aha moment. You just get to that moment where you realize that my subjective reality, my subject-object reality isn't absolute. That's it. You figured it out in some layer or another. And then you go through the second stage, which is the bliss blip. You have a blip of bliss, a holy instant. Woo, this is amazing. You want to rush out and tell everybody, hug everybody. You just love. You want to hug the trees. Everything's love. You've gotten a glimpse into absolute reality, which was silent stillness. And now you've got a new direction. We're going to do more of these retreats, more of these yogas, more of these mantras. No, it was while you were busy searching and you thought you found it, your mind went quiet. And the minute your mind went quiet, the silent stillness was all pervading. Present moment awareness was all there is. And that's what the bliss was, the blip was. But you thought it was in the technique, in the ritual, in the dogma. It was not. It was in the silent stillness. Return there. Stop questioning. Oh, but I have another question. Lou, you've said something interesting. Let me ask another question. Be still. Be quiet. Stop asking questions. Who wants to know? Only the ego wants to know. Only the ego wants to get rid of the ego as a way to keep the ego, because you'll never find the ego that you want to get rid of, because it doesn't exist. Ego isn't true. Only God is. When you admit that you don't know shit, more importantly, that you can't know shit, that you'll never know shit, that there's no you to know shit, that there's no shit to know, you'll be trapped in wanting to know shit without shit. You can't. So how do you return to the bliss blip? You don't. You already are that. But while you think you need to return, while you think you need to figure it out, while you think you need to understand, stand under some bullshit, you are now trapped in searching for blips, and you'll never get a blip. You might get a good kick up the fuck in Uranus and might sparkle your kundalini and third eye and unicorn feathers for a while, but you'll fucking yak, yak, yak will continue. And then you think you failed and you're straight back into it and you'll start a new search, a new path, a new book. How many people, Advaita Vedanta failed them, so they found A Course in Miracles. Woo! The Bible failed them. Now found A Course in Miracles. Woo! Haven't let go of Jesus, still worshiping Jesus instead of realizing the unification, the uniting, the indivisibility of the Christ. We all are as one Holy Son of God. But the bliss blip, we look for the next bliss blip. And we have many, but fuck it, we're still seeking for love in all the wrong places. Think about it. If everybody that goes to a retreat is seeking for love, everybody that goes to a retreat is in a resistance to what love is. And now they go looking for love where there's a whole lot of other resistance to what love is. So what do you think you're going to meet at a retreat? But another person who still doesn't love themselves because they know not what they are. And therefore, you're just going to meet another loveless fracture of yourself. And that relationship's going to be painful. But good luck. Go give your money to the gurus. Have fun. Okay. Don't invite me. I'm not coming. Right. Dark night. So you've had the blip and then you go through the dark night because everything seems to start falling apart. But I knew this. I was on the special path, A Course in Miracles. Just read this Vedanta. I've shaved my head. I'm wearing a robe. I'm now wearing sandals. I'm eating bread and water. Why is it all miserable again? Because you have a ton of knowledge, but you know nothing about anything. Because you only know the makeup of the illusions, the animas and the animuses and the archetypes and the unicorns and all that other shit, but you don't know the truth, because to know the truth means you have to be silent. Be still and know I am. And once you be still and know I am, and abide in that, in total gratitude with nothing more to forgive, you are spirit, and spirit inspires and enthusiastically shares inspiration. And how does it appear in the world of dreams? It appears you apply your talented, passionate, God-given essential energy nature to your dream, which you once made in vengeance. You're now sharing the love you are. You're not detaching. You're not running away. You're pouring back in with inspired enthusiasm authentically to the character you portray, you play, you act, and you be yourself knowingly, sharing the love of God you are. And when you do that, and you've transcended that dark night, the inner calling for healing comes. Because now there's a refinement process. And don't think you failed, because the ego is going to say, yeah, but you still have these thoughts. You go, they're not mine, Mr. Ego. I'm not interested. So here's those thoughts. It was you were a failure as a child. You weren't good enough. Your father abandoned you. Your mother did this. The boys at school said that. The girls at school said this. The teacher, the wife, the ex-wife, the next wife, the boss. I'm not replaying it. Ooh, isn't that spiritual bypassing? Hell fucking yes, it is. Bypass the whole fucking dream. Bypass it all. Why do you want to keep beating yourself up, doing shadow works, belonging to this club and that club, and you're going to blah, 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 and figure it out. And then there's another layer, and there's another layer. Layers are illusion direct to God. Abide, be still. Forgive, meaning I recognize none of this is true. I'm not going to find the source of the illusion because it's illusion itself. I abide in the Lord God of my being in gratitude, knowing that His grace is working through me. I'm not healing because I want to heal. I'm healing because I've surrendered to His will, and His grace does the rest. How do you boil a frog? You turn up the heat. How do you awaken to self? You pour yourself into that Holy Spirit bath of silent stillness, and you let God dial up the heat until you dissolve and disappear into the light of awareness. You are Holy Son of God. Like I said before, it's because of God's grace. It's not because your power. You've got nothing. You've got no power. His power flows through you. And if you're not aware of God's grace, always prevalent, always all pervasive, all pervading, everywhere, you're in it. You're part of it. You're made from it. And if you're not aware of it in action, everything's happening for your highest good. Everything is an echo for the voice of God, the memory of what you are, Holy Son. Then throughout your whole life, not recognizing God's grace, you will be a disgrace to yourself or someone else. And then there's the revelation, this recognition of our shared, indivisible, shared Christ self. And then your clarity begins, your true clarity, your refinement, and you start to realize you're changing the way your sentences are structured. You're starting to explain it with words that you've never used before. And through it comes the next stage, which is a new mission. And that's the pouring back in again, refined, pouring back in. This is really teachers for God, is those that are truly healed and nothing more to heal. They go back and they start to share themselves and share their new transcendent understanding, their true knowing. And of course, it's going to be concessionary words or but symbols twice removed. But they're trying to get everybody to recognize the true divine power and glory, and that there's nothing outside you that's going to fix you, and there's nowhere to head towards. The pointing was simply here, now, and that we all are the eternal extension of the love of God. No ranking, nobody above you, nobody below you, one indivisible self. And then the final step is God takes the final step, or so I understand. Clearly, I haven't experienced it. Whilst if I had, I wouldn't be here appearing as this dude on the screen. But I love the idea. I definitely believe that that's all there is, because what else would there be once peace of God is all there is? Where would you want to go when peace of God is already attained here now? You but travel in dreams to a place you've never left, through a time that's never existed, only to remember the self you've always been, always will be, and forever will extend. So you can go through the 6 stages or just simply abide in silent stillness, recognizing the I am, the doorway, and total gratitude, the recognition that the essence energy you are, the life force you are, the love that travels through you that animates this appearance and all other appearances is pure energy. And that pure energy, another word for it, is unconditional love. It's the grace of God sharing, being shared, wanting to be shared. And when that recognition comes in the silent stillness, you'll have no more questions, because questions interrupt the silence. And why would you interrupt the most delicious, most joyous, most beautiful expression of love you will ever experience? Because you're experiencing the love of God. You are that which you seek for. And when you abide in the silent stillness, any question comes, it wants to understand something. It's like, abide. I'm not interested in answering questions, because who's asking the question but the ego? And what's abiding in silent stillness and the beautiful goodness and grace of God but the self we all are, the Holy Son? Be that knowingly. If that hasn't kicked your ass into touch, then it's not called the rude awakening. Be good to yourself, be good to others. And if you cannot be good and kind, then be quiet. Blessings. See you next week.